Welcome back to Clegg's Adventures. Today I'm going to give you a clue to some Native American artifacts that very few people know about. I don't even think archaeologists know this clue. Now you may have heard these artifacts right here referred to as gorgets, gorgets, but in today's video we'll refer to them as gorgets just because I think that's the most common term used for these. And what they are, they're basically all the same shape. Some of them are rectangular, some of them are oval like this, but they're mostly made elongated with two holes drilled in line with the gorget. And you'll see these gorgets made out of several different materials. It's usually a material that's easy to shape and work with and carve. These are made out of slate. These are copies, replica gorgets, basically because I have not found a whole gorget yet. I have some authentic pieces here that I'll show you in a second. And some of these gorgets are highly decorated. Some of them will have little lines engraved in them, symbols, but they're usually all basically the same. An elongated piece, usually of slate, with two holes drilled in line with the gorget. And like I say, you'll find several different shapes of these, sometimes the rectangular, sometimes diamond shapes, sometimes they'll be made out of stone, but usually slate. And sometimes they'll have an oddball hole drilled here or there. And some of these gorgets, you'll notice, will have these, what they call tally marks that are ground into the edge, little grooves ground into the edge of it, if you can see those. Now what they were tallying or adding up with these gorget, with these tally marks, is totally unknown. But what were these gorgets used for? We're going to go over a few theories right now, and then I'm going to give you a secret clue that's either going to strengthen your theory that you have now, or it's totally going to throw it out of the water. Even to use the word gorget for what these may have been is kind of misleading, because gorget means a protectant or an armor piece to protect the throat. And we don't know what these were used for. I mean, I'm not even sure how you would have fastened that around your throat. I get it has two holes drilled in it, but having a piece like that against your throat would be very uncomfortable, and I don't think that's what it was for. Another theory that people have that's even been proven wrong is that it may have been tied on the forearm like this, right in here. So when they were shooting a bow, like a modern day forearm protector, that string, the bowstring, wouldn't abrade your arm like that. But there's a few things that prove that theory wrong. For one, the holes aren't drilled in the right position. How would you tie that in line with your arm with two holes drilled in line with the gorget? You would have to have four holes, one here, 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 and here, and tie it around like that with a string. Second of all, a piece of slate, if a native was going to use something to protect their forearm from a bowstring, I assume that they would have just used a heavy piece of leather or a leather sleeve that they pulled up over their arm. But the main reason, well, another thing, there has been studies done to see if there were any bowstring marks, and they couldn't find any abrasions or any kind of wear to prove that that's what it was. But the main theory that proves it wrong is these gorgets date back to early woodland times, probably 2,900 years ago, and that's long before the bow and arrow even showed up in the eastern United States. And then of course you have your old go-to when there's any mystery in artifacts that people don't know what they were. They just say, well, it's ceremonial. It was used in religious practices and ceremonies, and I just don't buy that, because the clue that I'm about to tell you is going to throw that out of the water. And here's the secret clue I was telling you about. Now, I didn't figure this out. A friend of a friend told me, but I think he's told very few people. And like I say, I've never even heard archaeologists talk about this on videos, or I've never read it in books or anywhere. like I was saying before, you'll notice on some of these gorgets, they'll have these little tally marks in the sides here, notched in the side. Now what they were adding up, like I say, I don't know, and nobody knows what they were adding up there. But this clue is going to either strengthen your theory or it's totally going to blow it out of the water. You can see even this authentic gorget, that a piece that I found, has the tally marks grooved into it as well, several of them around there. And we're still looking for the other pieces of this. And just like me, you've seen these clues every time you've seen these gorgets in person or in books. You've just never noticed, like I just never noticed it until somebody pointed it out to me. But these gorgets, I at first thought, I was racking my brain trying to figure out, what are these tally marks for? What were they adding up? What could they have used this gorget for? And I thought maybe, at first I thought, like everybody else, ceremonial. But then I don't tend to think like that. I started thinking maybe it was a hunting trophy. Maybe every time you killed a large animal like a bear or something, you got a notch in the side of it, just like a hunting trophy. But later on, I started thinking, well, maybe it was birthdays. Maybe everybody had a gorget, and a certain time of the year, they took the gorget and they put a groove in there, or they put a scratch line on it. But I thought, if everybody had a gorget, you would find a lot more of them, and they're very rare to find. But here's the clue that I'm telling you about, because now I'm leaning towards something else. If you'll notice, these gorgets that have these tally marks on them, they'll have been broken and refurbished at one point. If you find a whole gorget that has not been broken or refurbished into anything else, it's all there, it won't have any of those tally marks in it. Now what's that telling me? That's telling me that these gorgets were used in some kind of rough service. Now I'm not talking about something like this right here. Now we just have the end of it where it broke right on the drill hole there. And we don't have the rest of it. So this was broken in the ground over thousands of years, just laying there, maybe laying against the rock in the ground and broke. So we'll never know if that had tally marks on it or not. But if you have a whole gorget and it's all there, it won't have any tally marks on it. Now there are exceptions to the rule. 99.9% of the time, this will hold true. But if you have one that's been broken, like this one, that the end was broken off, and they've taken it against a stone, now this is a copy, and they've reworked it to make it smooth and clean it up so it doesn't look all broken and jagged, in that case, it'll have these tally marks in it. And what that's telling me is that I think it was used in some sort of rough service. Maybe I've got it narrowed down to two theories in my mind. It was either there was a lot of fighting going on at the time, and you think about all these earthworks, these fortified earthworks around here, there had to have been fighting going on at the time around there. So I'm thinking maybe every time you went into battle and you came back, maybe it was a badge of honor. Every battle you went into, you got a notch like that. That would explain, I still wouldn't know how it was worn, but that would explain it getting broken and the notches. Another theory I'm shooting towards, a little bit more practical, maybe it was a sporting event, like a contact sporting event. Maybe you tied it around your waist or your chest or something like that, and you wrestled, or it was a team event. But it had to have been something rough service to be breaking these up, because it seems like the more they're busted up and reworked, the more of these tally marks they'll have in them. Now maybe that brings up a whole new theory for you. If so, let me know down in the comments. And remember, you heard it here first. You come back now.